February 2022 is the government we now lead. In this unique circumstance, the visionary becomes the foundational executor. This administration, therefore, carries a historic responsibility to lay the enduring foundations for the next Anambra, setting the state firmly on the path towards realizing its manifest destiny as an African Dubai, Taiwan, Silicon Valley by 2070. By 2070, it is estimated that about 38 to 40 million people, up from the current 9 million, will be resident in Anambra, and probably over 50 million by the end of this century. These people will need transport infrastructure, power, jobs, housing, sewage, and waste management, schools and hospitals, care for the vulnerable and the elderly, and so on. So far, over the last 4 years, every step, every project, every program, law, or policy has been intentional with one question in mind. How does it align with the long-term vision? Where will it leave Anambra not only in the immediate and medium term, but more fundamentally over the next 50 to 100 years? Intergenerational sustainability and alignment to the destination drive our thinking and actions. This is a new chapter on how we do business in Anambra. We're driven by long-term vision, and that is where we're headed to. Yes, in the Anambra, our aspirational alternative future is possible, but must begin with disruptive but sure-footed steps founded on existing realities. When the administration assumed office in March 2022, the initial conditions were daunting. It was impossible to begin dreaming of the skyscrapers when 8 local governments were under the grip of criminals and kidnappers. Cities lacked pipe-borne water and reliable electricity. Infrastructure, especially roads, was in a state of severe decay. Public hospitals were largely non-functional, and many public schools operated without sufficient teachers. The environment was in crisis, the transport system chaotic, and the fiscal planning almost non-existent. Compounding and all of this almost non-existent, resulting in sprawling urban slums. Compounding these structural challenges was an emerging value system that increasingly disparaged hard work while celebrating obscene wealth without work. Government itself had no proper abode from where to think and act. Given the urgency of the moment, the new administration understood that this vision was an agenda with a deadline. The world view was one that did not see any boundaries, physical or religious, and our mantra has been one state, one people, one agenda. As a government rooted in progressivism, it is intentional about leaving no one behind. A governance principle based on equity, fairness, inclusiveness, and compassion. This is the APGAS ideology of Onyaga na Nwanneya. Despite a razor focus on quantum disruptive changes to ensure intergenerational sustainability, building to last, extreme prudence and value for money, that is doing more with less, define the administration's attitude to public resources. Our goal has been the reinvention of a developmental state where each resident has a significant stake in the prosperity and sustainability of the state. The first 4 years have been devoted to addressing the basics, restoring security, law and order, addressing waste management and urban regeneration, rebuilding public schools and hospitals, infrastructural revolution, especially roads and unprecedented road dualization for the present and future generations, breaking the 34-year-old jinx by building a befitting government house and lodge, digitizing government processes and mainstreaming transparency and value for money governance, restoring public finance on a path of sustainability, rescuing our environment, intentionally investing in leisure and entertainment to turn Anambra into a preferred destination. A document, I'm sure, circulating here, entitled Anambra on the Rise, the Foundation Towards the African Dubai Taiwan Silicon Valley 1.0. You can also access the soft copy. But suffice it to re-echo what in the Anambra are saying, that Anambra is back to winning ways. Anambra is back to winning ways. Some 62 criminal camps have been dismantled and 8 local governments previously under total siege liberated. Anambra had its best Christmas season in decades last December with a mass return and over 10,000 visitors per day to the Solution Fund City every day, Oka, until 10th of January. The debilitating Monday sit at home is over. And our schools, markets, businesses, and public servants are back to work. Ndi Anambra said that ours is now the safest, or at least one of the safest states in Nigeria. I'm sure many of you flew into Anambra yesterday, being Monday. Previously, it was not possible. The once biggest urban slum in the southeast, Oboko, is now New Haven. Ekulobia is a new city. Oka is surely taking off as a befitting state capital of roads, both under the zero. Increasingly connecting Anambra as one mega city for the 21st century. Urban and semi-urban water schemes are back. Some 300,000 youths have received digital skills, and the Anambra 1 million digital tribe agenda receiving global recognition. Techies, the techies. Over 15,000 youths have been trained and empowered under a unique One Youth, Two Skills program, with 3,000 of them confessing to be the new youth millionaires. To reinvent the Dr. Emayo Okpara palm revolution, we have distributed 2.2 million palm and coconut seedlings to 180,000 households, thereby empowering them for life and laying the foundation for a new palm processing ecosystem. With our revolution in education, especially with the 8,115 new teachers recruited competitively from 18 states of Nigeria, upscaling investment in public school infrastructure and technology, especially with the smart schools, and continuing subsidy to mission schools, the Anambra public schools are back to winning ways. Anambra schools and teachers, especially public schools, now dominate the annual President's Awards. They won 5 and 9 President's Awards in 2024 and 2025 respectively. For context, about 15 awards are available each year, the highest of any state in Nigeria. In 2025, an Anambra public school was rated the best primary school in Nigeria, while a public secondary school had the overall best results in science subjects in the same 2025. Anambra now has the lowest out-of-school children in Nigeria at 2.9% according to UNICEF. Our truly free education from kindergarten to senior secondary school in all public schools has seen enrollment up by nearly 50%. We have been celebrated as national and regional champions in primary health care, winning cumulative cash awards of $1.6 million US. This is one award that you win cash, and Anambra has won them back to back for 2 years. And our program of free antenatal and free delivery for pregnant women including free cesarean operations in all public hospitals, has benefited slightly over 208,000 women with zero mortality. The 5 brand new general hospitals built and completed are all in the North Senatorial Zone, true to our principle of prioritizing need over politics. This governor, yours sincerely, I am from the South Senatorial Zone. We haven't built any in the South Senatorial Zone. We prioritize the North Senatorial Zone where there has been most acute need. We have been consistently ranked #1 on fiscal transparency and among top 3 on fiscal sustainability. Our government is being fully digitized and our ease of doing business is robust. Yes, we are wrestling with our #1 existential threat, the environment, especially flooding and gully erosion. Anambra is the gully erosion capital of the world. The list can go on. And all of this so far, I must note, without borrowing a kobo from any commercial bank. The nation and the world have taken serious notice with dozens of national and international awards and recognitions. Even though someone says we do so much, but we're not doing enough with publicity. I said we will do them first. Later, the people will tell the story. If we build the skyscrapers and flyovers to be inhabited by the Okite and the Ezenwai generations, our homeland will be desolate and our efforts in vain. Our homeland was being overrun by a new and fastest growing religion and philosophy amongst our youth that promised and celebrated wealth without work. The implication for criminality was obvious. We promised a revolution towards a new Anambra, and we are serious about it. With the enforcement of our Homeland Security Law 2025, also Soludo is real. Hundreds of these dangerous native doctors are on the run. The poster boy of the new phenomenon, Akwakuko Tiwaraki, has pleaded guilty and sentenced to a jail term. His massive shrine has been destroyed as well. We are on a very serious crusade for ethical and cultural rebirth.
During this blessed month, we begin with prayer, with faith, and with the spirit of giving.
And all of this so noticed
Ramadan is
with
more than
dozens
just
of
about
national and
fasting.
international
It's
awards
about
and
bringing
recognition.
hearts together
Even
through
though
the joy of
someone
sharing.
says we do so much, but we are not doing enough with
I am not wired to gloat or celebrate the millions of steps already taken. My focus
will tell the
is
story.
firmly on the billions of steps that still lie ahead. Our gaze is on the next, it's not on the next election, but on the next generations. Over the next 4 years in the Anambra, we are changing to Gear 4 to consolidate the ongoing transformation across all sectors, accelerate actions to secure the spaces and pillars for the prosperity of generations yet unborn, and institutionalize change within a build-to-last framework. We move with urgency, running at the speed of 1,000 kilometers per hour in multiple directions simultaneously. Security and electricity will remain priorities. Anambra's landmass is rapidly being developed in a haphazard and chaotic manner, making a fiscal master plan an emergency. That is why we are intentionally securing strategic land spaces as Anambra's land bank for future development. With an estimated population of about 40 million by 2070 and nearly 50 million by the end of the century, the state will require at least 3 airports or even more. But in the next 10 years, there will hardly be any space for them except we add to them. We have already planned and invested in 4 new cities and their districts. There is the new Niger City near Onitsha, Oka 2.0 City, the Anambra Mixed-Use Industrial City, and Aerotropolis, and the Innovation District, which is proving to be our own Silicon Valley. The CPS of Canada has completed for us the Anambra's Rail Master Plan, and our Gas Master Plan is also ready. Electricity remains a national binding constraint, and we are determined to find some local solutions in partnership with the private investors and the federal government. Yes, it took our friend and brother, Professor Barton, 20 years to build the Aba power plant. We don't expect for this to last the next 20 years. We're inviting our private sector operators, and I think quite a few are on the works. And we must give our people power. Our Electricity Regulatory Commission has set out to guarantee a competitive electricity market. The mixed-use industrial city and the Aerotropolis have been approved by Mr. President as an economic free trade zone. And construction is well underway. A 5-star hotel at the International Convention Center is under construction, while the Coordinated Wholesale Center, the largest drug market in West Africa, is set for commissioning in the first quarter of 2027. These projects are not just buildings and infrastructure. They are foundations for a better life on the Anambra. They will create thousands of jobs, improve access to reliable electricity and transportation, enhance business opportunities, expand trade, and attract private investment. By securing land for the future, building new cities, and modernizing our infrastructure, we are ensuring that the Anambra will enjoy sustainable economic growth, improved livelihoods, and a prosperous environment for generations to come. The above present huge opportunities for private investment, and we invite all on the Anambra and the investors to seize these opportunities and be part of the transformation that will define the state's future. In the Anambra, in a few years, the second airport and the thriving nascent city around it will be delivered. And we will secure space even for the third airport, laying foundation for future generations. Securing the future is urgent. Many audacious and disruptive transformations are not mere options, they are imperatives. For example, the regeneration of Onitsha main market, which for decades was Anambra's address. The Onitsha metropolis itself and the Nnewi are non-negotiable. We have to regenerate these places. We, however, sympathize with those who may be affected by the inevitable changes required to secure our collective future. Those who are on the ways that we are dualizing, houses that need to go, shops that may have to give way for us to rescue our state and build a prosperous future. We empathize, we sympathize, but you can't make such a very glorious omelette without breaking some eggs. Our human capital transformation is accelerating. The primary, secondary, tertiary ecosystem of our health and education sectors is being reimagined with bold new secondary and tertiary institutions under development. Community and local government administration are being re-engineered to maximize peace, security, and grassroots development. The agenda in the Anambra is long, the time short, and the resources finite. But we promise that we will give it everything we've got. Omonne ndị Anambra, ndị Anambra. Anambra is just one of the 36 of Nigeria. And we can't do this alone. We need partnerships with critical stakeholders, neighboring states in the southeast and south-south, the federal government, the private sector, and the international community. I commend the commitment and vision of the current governors in the southeast, and I am convinced that together we can achieve greatness for our people. Some of them are in London, and some have their deputies here. Personally, as someone who grew up in the old East Central state, I still see the Southeast as one state, unquote. One people that can collaborate to create a united and prosperous homeland for our people. Yet, ụmụnnem ndị Anambra, ụmụnnem ndị Igbo, the Southeast region is performing far below its potential, and this must change for the sake of our future and the generations to come. Several years of self-inflicted but devastating war of attrition, together with the complicit silence of the graveyard, threatened to create a desolate homeland, setting the wheel of development several decades back. How did we get here? In the early 1960s, the Eastern region was reported as the fastest growing sub-region in the world. 9 years after the Nigerian-Biafran Civil War, in 1979, Igbos became the vice president and the Speaker of the House of Representatives until 1983. From 1999 to 2007, we had the office of the Senate presidency, which was, of course, rotated among the 5 states. That's an issue for another day. But how, and so on and so forth, that we have held. How all these positions improve the lives of the women in Okpoko, or Ngokpala, or Akwet, or Izambo, or Udenu remains a question for another day. But how did we get to the recent position where we resort to politics of lamentations? The truth is that we have derailed. Perhaps someday, when we ask the hard question.
Stay dry and fresh with Nevia Dry Deo.
But maybe within ourselves. Yes, it will be nice, at least emotionally, to see a man with the red cap at the villa someday. But whether it will matter fundamentally for the average Igbo man is debatable. In 1998, I wrote an article, I was at the United Nations then. I wrote an article in which I argue that it is possible for an Igbo man to be president, vice president, senate president, and speaker of the House of Representatives at the same time, and yet Igbo land or ordinary Igbo man may not even fare better. Focusing largely on transient positions by politicians rather than on frameworks for sustainable prosperity for all misses the major point, in my view. Igbo land needs healing. We need a new language, a new narrative, and a new approach. First, let me repeat what I stated in my inaugural address 4 years ago, and I quote, with Ohaneze and Igbo's estimate that 11.6 million Igbos live in the north, and over 7 million in Lagos State alone, and over 70% of our non-land assets scattered all over Nigeria and the world, Ndi Igbo need Nigeria, and Nigeria needs us. We need Africa and the world, and they need us. End of quote. We must boldly assert our rights as equal citizens of Nigeria, and there are better ways to agitate for equity and fairness in a democracy. Armed struggle in our context is self-annihilating. We must, without apologies, state that never again we will turn the gun on ourselves in the name of agitation. Out of our experience with the Civil War and the recent experiences, Igbos may need a date with history, a day of justice and healing, justice for all the victims of the acts of commission and omission, and healing of the land, with eternal lessons to teach our children. We must be able to say never again. Second, Ndi Igbo must play the pan-Nigeria politics of coalition for development. Let us join hands with like minds across Nigeria to agitate for a fairer Nigeria where everyone has equal chance to succeed irrespective of his language, dialect, religion, or region, and a restructured and dynamic federation. Ndi Igbo need to maximize benefits from Nigeria to transform the homeland. But we cannot do so by remaining on the sidelines as social critics and agitators. In a democracy, no one gets what one deserves. You get what you bargain for, and you bargain with your votes. One obvious way for us to matter and be taken seriously in Nigeria, again, is the strength of our organization and the size of our votes. I pray that Ndi Igbo will never waste their votes again. Today, let us commit to unite to launch our own MAGA movement. This is Make Ala Igbo Great Again. I have seen references to this in the social media. A crusade for a livable and prosperous homeland as a proud component of the largest black country on earth, Nigeria. Let's reinvent our past glories under Dr. Azikiwe, Dr. M.I. Okpara, and Dr. Akanebia, or even Dr. Babiaseka of the East Central State after the Civil War. Enough of the lamentations. We need to organize and lobby the rest of Nigeria to live out Nigeria's promise to the Southeast and the former Eastern region after the Civil War for a massive reconstruction of our zone. This was the promise after the Civil War, and we are still waiting. This will require a deliberate agenda akin to the U.S. Marshall Plan for Europe after the Second World War, or at least a principle of equality of zones in sharing or distribution of federal infrastructure. For example, the national highways, the gas pipelines, the rail lines, the river seaports, etc. Combined with good governance by the Southeast governors and the resilience, innovation, and enterprise of our people, the Southeast will soar once again as axis of opportunity and prosperity. That will be the sustainable response to cries of marginalization. President Tinubu is a cerebral, courageous, and patriotic Nigerian. We trust him to make a major difference for Nigeria and for the Southeast. We thank him for the ongoing federal projects in the Southeast, especially the Enugu-Onitsha Expressway that are now pursuing with vigor, the adjunct to the second Niger Bridge, among others. During his state visit to Anambra on May 8, 2025, I requested, among other things, for Anambra and the Southeast to be immediately included in the National Gas and Rail Master Plans, as well as dredging of River Niger for the Onitsha River Port to be operational, and he approved. We expect the agencies involved to deliver. Umunam de Anambra, let us seize this moment and make it count. As I gaze into the future, I see nothing but infinite possibilities and opportunities, the African Dubai, Taiwan. But only those who plan and organize can control that future. I apply for this job because I am a proud Igbo man and a proud Nigerian, a new Zikist and a Pan-Africanist who believes in the strong possibility of reinventing Igbo land as a livable and prosperous homeland within the context of a united and prosperous Nigeria and Africa. Government alone cannot create that future. Only the collective actions of all of us and in partnership with the rest of the world can make the ADTS a reality. Citizens pay taxes, obey rules and laws, contribute ideas, make our environment sustainable, say something when they see something, especially in aid of security, and even tar roads, build hospitals and schools, etc. We commend the Anambra billionaires who are transforming their communities and the state under a public-private community partnership, PPCP framework. Each of us has something to contribute, however little, to make Anambra great. To our diaspora population, including those in Lagos and Abuja, we consider you also as diaspora. This is your state. God did not make a mistake to create you as Onye Anambra. On the last day, he will ask all of us how we left this state better than we met it. I must now close by making this unmistakable promise in the Anambra. I make this promise, solemn promise to you in the Anambra today, that the Deputy Governor, the new cabinet, which will soon start off, and I will dedicate ourselves 24/7 over the next 4 years to make you proud. For me, this mission is personal. I am driven to build a state where I will be proud to retire after the next 4 years when I take my deserved retirement. I want to help to build a state where I will retire, where my children and grandchildren will thrive, and where every Onya Anambra can proudly say, this is my home. This is our moment, because I ask all of us, if not now, when?
Kafin fitowar rana na Afirka, don baiwa iyali na ingantaccen ƙarin kumallo da suke
stronger and bolder. And at the end of the next 4 years, there will be no doubt the foundations to a livable and prosperous smart megacity, the ADTS, will be solid. We now have a record of delivering more than promise. Hence, when you echo with me that solution is here, know that it is not a slogan. It is our covenant. It is our promise. In the Anambra, let us rise, let us act, and let us build that future together. God bless you all. God bless Anambra State. God bless all progressives. And God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Yeah, thank you very much. You know, as I was saying, they just slipped something to me as I was, I know, and like I said, I don't want to get onto the list of calling all the 480 something names I'm giving here. I appreciate all of you. I deeply, deeply do. You're all welcome. When we were speaking, I saw that one of our partners is not from Anambra, but is our great partner who has used the instrument of his ministry to build a very magnificent hospital for the psychiatric hospital and for the elderly here at Aguleri. And I understand this evangelist Ebukobi, he walked in to join us on this particular time. We also say welcome to you and to all those, like I have appreciated, who are doing everything to help Anambra grow and help Anambra be great. Thank you very much, and God bless you. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Chukwuma Soludo, Chaliwamba Wonisobe Gabaniru, Odawali Bubuna Isigi Gabaniru, Wamba Wonisobe, Solution Abiagona Nambara, Chukwuma Soludo, Alwa Tuebu Gabaniru, Wakamweli Bubo Gabaniru, Gidonye Nazo.
Alwa Tuebu Anambra, we are here to celebrate the swearing-in ceremony for a second term of our great governor. And today, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we have the Deputy Governor of Imo State, Her Excellency Lady Chinyere Ihuoma Ekomaro, PhD, and her husband, Chief Chukwuma Ekomaro, SAN, are here. We welcome you especially. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, as we proceed, may I most respectfully invite for his speech the Vice Chancellor, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency, Senator Kashim Shettima Mustafa, GCON. Please put your hands together for the number 2 citizen of Nigeria as he comes forward for his speech.
Kindly take your seat. Former President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, GCFR. Former President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, GCFR. Elder statesman and former Secretary General of the Commonwealth, Chief Emeka Anyaoku, GCON, OFR. Our host, the Executive Governor of Anambra State, His Excellency Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo, CFR, and his amiable wife, Dr. Nonye Soludo. Your Excellency, the Deputy Governor of Anambra State, Onyeka Chukwu Gilbert Ibezim, and his spouse, Lady Oluchi Ibezim. Serving and former members of the National Assembly present here. Your Excellencies, Deputy Governors of Kaduna, Imo, Delta, Ebonyi, and Enugu states. The Speaker, Anambra State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Somtuchukwu David, and other members of the Anambra State House of Assembly. The Chief Judge of Anambra State, Honorable Justice Onochie Manasseh Anyechebelu, and other members of the Anambra State Judiciary. Special Advisor to the President on Economic Affairs, Dr. Tope Pashwa, and other presidential aides. Former Governor of Anambra State, His Excellency Senator Chris Ngige, OON, and all the former governors and deputy governors of Anambra State present here. Heads of government agencies and parastatals, Secretary to the Anambra State government and all the members of the State Executive Council, His Majesty the Oni of Ife Oba Ade Anitanogunsi Ojaja II, the traditional ruler of Obosi community, Idemili North, and Chairman Anambra State Traditional Rulers Council, His Royal Majesty Chudubem Iweka Ize Iweka, His Majesty the Obi of Onisha, Igwe Naimeka Alfred Ugochukwu Achebe CFR, and other traditional rulers present here. The President General Ohanezendi Worldwide, Senator John Azuta Mbata, His Eminence Peter Berry, Cardinal Okwaleke, and other clergymen present here, members of the diplomatic corps, captains of industry. I want to single out for special recognition Sir Emeka Ofo, Chief Cletus Ibeto, and my very good friend, Mr. Allen Onyema. Members of the Post Estate of the Rim, honored guests, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. He returned to Anambra State with a wealth of experience, having traveled the farthest corners and horizons of knowledge, and tested his gifts in the service of Nigeria and the wider world. But to say only that is to reheat a tired cliche. His Excellency, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, CFR, has shown with uncommon elegance and an uncommon courage what it means for a technocrat to leave the comfort of brilliant diagnosis and submit himself to the bruising pill of democratic execution. To step out of the serenity of theory into the turbulence of partisan politics, and still insist that ideas must not simply sound beautiful, they must work. And there's no doubt that the people of Anambra State have seen what many of us have always seen, the Soludo solution. Professor Soludo came to office at an interesting hour in our national journey. He came at a time when too many amongst us had begun to mortgage integrity for relevance, and when the seeds of discord had been scattered across our commonwealth with reckless abandon. Yet, he remained honorable. He remained a man of ideas. He remained a man whose convictions were not for the seminar hall alone, but for the public square. He has also remained, in a season of needless divisions, a reminder that leadership can unify without shouting, persuade without humiliating, and stand firm without surrendering its soul. It is therefore no surprise that his people have welcomed him again and entrusted him with another term to hold the rudder of this great state and guide it further into safe and prosperous waters. The people of Anambra State are today renewing not just a mandate, but a covenant with competence. And as Dr. Onyeka Chukwu Gilbert Ibezim takes this oath once again beside him, the state is also affirming that leadership is not only about the brilliance of the man at the top, but also about the steadiness, loyalty, and discipline of those who help translate vision into order and order into progress. One of the beautiful lessons Professor Soludo has taught us is that differences in political parties need not be invitations to hostility. They can and should be opportunities for collaboration. In this business of serving the people, we are often more alike than we are different, because whatever banners we wave, the true burden before us is the redemption of our people. Professor Soludo has shown that it is possible to see beyond the generous shenanigans that so often pass for politics in our climate, and to keep pace with the higher calling of public life. And if I may add with a smile, his practical commentaries on the state of the nation, whether on our economic adventures or our political gymnastics, have become such permanent tenants in the media space that once the professor clears his throat, half the country reaches for a pen and the other half braces for impact. The policies of His Excellency, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, have benefited from the candor, specialist insights, and patriotic counsel of these distinguished economists, this restless thinker, this public intellectual of uncommon range, both in open forum and in private conversation. And that is how it should be. That is what it means to be in the business of nation building. It means placing the welfare of the Federation above the vanity.
Unwrap joy, unleash taste.
That maturity of purpose has helped nurture a cordial and productive relationship between Anambra State and the federal government. The result is a stability of engagement that has allowed our distinguished son of scholarship to demonstrate that he came not to be consumed by the old habits of power, but to prove that genuine change is possible in a land where many others only game the language of change. And we have seen, under his watch, a deliberate effort to restore order to public life, strengthen security, and confront the criminality that had cast a shadow over parts of the state. We have seen an administration that moved to reclaim public confidence, ease the disruptions that had burdened commerce and daily life, and invest across critical sectors of development. From public infrastructure to power, his tenure has carried the imprint of a government that understands that governance must be measured by the steadiness of its response to the practical needs of the people. We have seen the same sectoral attainment in health, education, innovation, and public finance. In healthcare, his administration has expanded access to new facilities, stronger primary care, and support for mothers and families. I have no doubt that this second coming is not a return to repetition, but a return to consolidation. Not a call to begin again, but an invitation to build higher on foundations already tested. The first time laid the granite, the second most raised the pillars. The first restored path, the second most expand the frontier. And from what we have seen, Anambra has every reason to look ahead with confidence. The roadmap for the next phase, from AUCA 2.0 to the Anambra mixed-use industrial city, from the innovation district to deeper reforms in health, education, transport, security, and power, suggests a government that has not exhausted its imagination or its appetite for serious work. Anambra has been better with Governor Soludo. And I say that with full awareness of the weight of those words, the synergy that has defined our relationship with this great state, a state where the people are some of the most industrious in Black Africa, will by the grace of God continue to flourish. The federal government remains committed to partnering with states led by men and women who understand that the ultimate meaning of power is the improvement of human life. But beyond policy, beyond concrete, beyond steel and statistics, today reminds us of something more sacred. Every oath of office is an argument with history. It is history asking whether power will again become an instrument of vanity or whether it can be redeemed as an instrument of service. It is the people placing their fragile hopes in the hands of those they have chosen and saying, do not simply govern us, honor us. That is why this ceremony matters. It is not only about continuity, it is about responsibility. It is about the solemn truth that the higher the trust, the heavier the burden. The applause will fade, the drums will quieten, the colorful banners will be folded away, but what will remain is the ancient obligation of leadership to protect the weak, to enlarge opportunity, to defend peace, to dignify labor, and to leave behind a society kinder, safer, and more just than the one we met. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, may this new term bring wisdom greater than ambition, courage greater than convenience, and humility equal to the magnitude of the trust bestowed today. May Anambra continue to rise. Thank you, and God bless us all.
Thank you, His Excellency, the Vice President of Federal Republic of Nigeria. At this juncture, we, on behalf of the security agencies here in Anambra, we humbly invite His Excellency Professor
Chukwuma Soludo of AnambraState for his second term in office. This brings us to the end of the broadcast. Please stay tuned as we continue with the rest of our programming for the day.